Should Christians celebrate July 4th? Is it good to celebrate the country, or is it maybe bad to celebrate the country? Is it more pious to say, I'm not about America, I'm not about politics, I'm about the kingdom, and I don't really care about all this stuff? Is that good, bad, ugly? What's the deal? We're going to talk about it right here on Cooper Stuff, and I'll tell you what, if you like this episode, you got to send it to somebody, and you have to go give us a good rating, send us a comment, tell people about us, get the algorithms going so we can get Cooper Stuff into the hands of people that need to see it. Jump into this. Why do I celebrate July 4th right here on Cooper Stuff? Cooper Stuff! What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to Cooper Stuff. I hope you're doing good. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. I'm sorry I'm a day late. Things are cray. Things are busy. We're going everywhere. It's back on, baby. And now we're here to talk about July 4th. So look, I'm going to admit, I'm biased. I love July 4th because I love the country. I'm into America. I get it. But I'm going to try to be as gracious as I can on this episode. I'm going to try to meet some people where they're at, because there is a strain of anti-Americanism coming through evangelical Christianity in a way that it just hasn't in my lifetime. Now, this has been the last, I'd say 5-6 years. It's been ramping up, and it's ramping up even more now to where churches that used to be just sort of, I'm not even trying to say they're like super duper like Team America. They used to be like, well, yeah, of course, we don't like hate the country or something. That it is starting to seem maybe to them a little more pious. You know what the word pious means? A little more like maybe they're loving God and showing more devotion to God more by not celebrating America. Sort of like, we're not about America, we're about the kingdom of God. True, by the way. Does that mean that we should not celebrate America? I'm going to try to meet that question. I think there's a few reasons for it. I think that number one, there's such a reckoning on the past, especially due to slavery. And of course, treatment of indigenous peoples, American Indians, things like that. So there's that issue happening. But there's also just this issue of how culture is changing so much. The world is changing so much in terms of secular social justice that America is actually viewed as a terrible force in the world. And then you have, I think, from the left, this accusation of Christian nationalism coming in. And a lot of Christians don't want to be involved in that, so they're running so far away that now we're just kind of becoming anti-American. Is that good? Is it pious? Is it whatever? We're going to talk about it. I'm going to try to be fair, but I want to start by just saying my initial inclination is just to say this, but some people might turn me off. Turn me off if you want. I'm going to try to be as fair as I can, but I do need to say it from the beginning. It is remarkable to me that we have such a level of ingratitude for those who came before us to give you the freedoms, to give you the very freedom that you have in order to go on social media and talk about how terrible the country is. There are people that like bled and died for that freedom for you to be able to do that. All right. For you to raise your family in the way you want to raise your family, to teach your kids, to train up your child. If you're a Christian, I'm going to raise my child in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And well, guess why you have that right? That is American freedom. That's why you have that right. So it's a little bit to see people throw away the concept of freedom as if, well, it's just a guarantee you're going to have freedom. Actually, no, that is not a guarantee that you're just going to have freedom. That happened because a lot of people bled and died. A lot of people put a lot of philosophy, theology, tried a lot of things, had a lot of failures, went through a lot of wars, a lot of people died so that we could be here today. And the level of ingratitude is, I marvel at it. I honestly marvel at it. I also marvel at it because there was a time when everybody agreed that it was a privilege to be a citizen, to understand what it means to be a good citizen. I mean, that we have a voice, you know, as my friend Rick Green said from Patriot Academy when he came on the show. We are Caesar now. We the people. We have a voice. We have something to say about it. That is a privilege. It is such an amazing privilege, and it was a privilege in America that had not ever been done on the face of the planet to the degree that it was here. I'm not really sure how we have gotten to this place where we don't understand what it means. But I am still going to try my best to be gracious, meet some people where they're at, give you my opinion on why I think it's a good thing to celebrate. Speaking of wanting to take care of your family and protect your family, I want you to check out this very quick sponsor ad. Hey, what's up, everybody? I am super excited to tell you about a new sponsor, something I feel very passionate about, all right? There are a lot of companies out there that are not fighting for you, your marriage, your faith, or your family. You know that's true, and it's getting worse every day. But there is one company that is on your side, Covenant Eyes. Covenant Eyes was founded right here in the USA, and for the past 22 years, they've walked with over 1.5 million people toward a porn-free life. I know it's going to get uncomfortable. Every time you say the word pornography, people get very uncomfortable. Listen, we have got to get rid of this addiction in the church. I have known far too many people that struggle with this, and Covenant Eyes is going to help you. Check this out. This is tearing apart American lives, marriages, families. You know it. It even shipwrecks people's faith because they feel shame. They don't want to be a part of a church. They don't feel like they belong, or they don't live in the light and they hide it. And then they're dealing with this addiction all the time. All right. Look at the divorce rate, the brokenness of families, shame, this and the other. Thankfully, Covenant Eyes is here to help you live a porn-free life and will bring you a new freedom to live honestly. With Covenant Eyes, you choose a trusted friend or family member to help you remain accountable on your devices so you're not alone in the journey. So it's not some stranger. This is something that you do with someone else, all right? Right now, you can try Covenant Eyes free for 30 days. This is an awesome deal. Free for 30 days, a free 30-day trial so you can see for yourself and you can protect your family as a bonus. So it's not just you. You can put it on multiple devices, but maybe with your kids, spouse, whatever your situation is, all right? Visit covenanteyes.com and make sure you enter the promo code Cooper, COOPER. Make sure you enter promo code Cooper or you're not going to get the free trial, all right? So go to covenanteyes.com, enter Cooper as the promo code, and start your free trial. You guys, we have to put this thing to death. I'm very passionate about this in the church, and I want to help you, and Covenant Eyes wants to help you as well. So, should Americans celebrate? I'm going to be as gracious as I can. Number one, I don't want to put legalistic restrictions on somebody that the Bible doesn't. The Bible doesn't say that you're supposed to celebrate July 4th. So does it make you a quote-unquote better Christian to celebrate July 4th? No, of course not. Does it make you more like Jesus because you celebrated July 4th? No, I'm certainly not saying that. Are there Christian people? I mean, I had a bit of a conversation with a friend of mine who pastors a church. He's like, "Are you saying that if I don't like the country, I can't be a Christian?" Of course, I'm not saying that. I will say there's a big difference between not really being into America and being anti-America. I would say there's a difference between that, but I don't want to put legalistic restrictions on somebody. Of course, you don't have to love America to be a Christian. So I do not want to put legalistic restrictions on that. But here's my question. What is the point of being anti-America? What is the point? What is the good that we're trying to do in a time? And I'm kind of jumping to the end of my story. A lot of times I like to unpack a story and I give you the goods at the end. I'm giving the goods up front, a tiny bit of the goods up front. I'll give the rest later. A little bit of the goods. What's the point of being anti-American in a time, all right? In a time where China is trying to take over the entire globe. What do you think happens if China overtakes America in technology? Have you seen how much further they are in AI and future type stuff, robotics, et cetera, et cetera? Have you seen how much better they are doing than we are? What happens if China becomes more dominant than America? Do you think the principles of communist China are better for Christianity than American principles? Do you think that's better for your children? You think it's better for your grandchildren to grow up under a regime that says you can be a Christian if you want to, as long as you don't talk about it in public? Or, well, you can meet together in your house to talk about Jesus if you want, as long as you agree that the head of the Christian church is President Xi. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is not the head of the church. The president is over Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ can be a God if you really want him to, as long as he is not as supreme as the God of the presidency, President Xi, President Biden, President whoever. As long as we all agree that that the communist president or the communist leader, the dictator, the state, the government, or as we might call it in the Bible, the beast, as long as you agree that the beast is more supreme than Christ, well, you can be a Christian if you want to. What's the big deal? We're not about America, John. Is that good or is that maybe bad? You say, well, John, it's not all about Christians, right? A Christian theocracy, Christian nationalism. Okay, let's take Christianity out of it. Is it good for Muslims? I mean, it's like there's like over 2 million Muslims enslaved today in China. So is it good for Muslims? Is it good for Christians? Is it good for citizens? Like, how do you think it's going in China for, like, normies citizens? How's it going over there? Is that a good thing? Is that better for the world or worse than the world than American principles? So in a time when you have communist China trying to take over the world, in a time when you have one world technocracy, some of the most frightening stuff, we haven't even talked about AI on Cooper stuff, frankly, because I'm just not qualified and I don't know who to talk to about it. I don't know anything about AI. All I know is it is scary as a dookie, all right? It is so absolutely frightening. We are talking about, we are talking about, like, we're talking about possible end of the world type stuff and reshaping what it means to be human. And if you think that the AI and robotics and transhumanism, if you think that that's got nothing to do with our current move of trans ideology in America, of gender and sex, you think that these things are tied together, then, well, I shouldn't say if you think like as if everybody should know this. I realize not a lot of people know this, but it's because we're not paying attention. Because there was a time when people knew it was a privilege to be a citizen. And if you're going to be a citizen, you need to be informed. You need to understand justice and equity of the law, things like that. You needed to understand what it meant to administer justice. To be a good citizen meant to understand the law of the land and the Constitution. If you were a Christian, it meant to understand the law of God. Because if you understand the law of God, then you are going to be able to be a good citizen because God's law is equitable. I'm not talking about equity like we talk about today, like everybody gets the same outcome. I'm talking about equity under the law, meaning that the poor and the rich are treated the same under the law, okay? Black and white and brown and all the colors of the rainbow that God created, we're all treated equally under the law. It doesn't matter if you have money or power or if you're in hold state office, everyone is treated equally under the law, all right? If you understand the law of God, then you're going to understand how to administer justice into your community as a citizen. There was a time we thought I was a good citizen, so it was good to be informed. Now we've pushed that aside, and now we have Christian churches saying, actually, you might be a better Christian if you don't know any of that stuff, because we're not about this world. So now we have Christian churches subtly pushing that maybe you're actually more pious if you don't care about being a good citizen. If you don't care about equity under the law and justice and constitutional, what it means to be a constitutional republic and how I can actually help administer justice in my community. Well, those things don't really matter because we're all about the kingdom. So we're at a time with a one world technocracy that is so absolutely frightening, joining together with world organizations to implement basically some sort of new world order, okay? And I know it sounds like conspiracy theory, but it's out there. Everybody knows it. The Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, the UN, the EU, these are all organizations of elites. It's like, I think Glenn Beck calls it 21st century fascism. Dr. Joseph Boot, who we've had on the show before, calls it a one world socialist technocracy. I don't know what you want to call it. They are these organizations that are definitely elite driven, that believe they are going to lead us into a new evolution of humanity. Man is going to become a sort of Superman. They're going to implement it from the top down, take your property, take your rights, say, hey, there's a global pandemic. Everybody lock up. You're not allowed to leave your house for 2 years. Everybody take the jab because that is all that this is. So if you think that that's not frightening as a dookie, then you're not paying attention. I could keep going. Look at what America's doing with our LGBT pride authoritarianism. There's something that's just getting passed in Michigan, Lord willing, it will not pass at the Supreme Court level, but they're just passing it in the whatever it goes to. I'm not very good on law. I always forget what it has to pass in their state. Their state laws passed it, and hopefully it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and it will not pass, I hope, Lord willing, to charge $10,000 fine if you misgender someone. All right? Imprisoned if you misgender someone. California, as people know, people are already getting concerned because some of the laws passing there, that people are saying, this is going to mean that if I'm a parent and I tell my 9-year-old son, Bob, I'm sorry, I'm not going to call you Sally, you are not a girl, there may be actual legal ramifications for that in California. Why is all that happening? Because of a LGBT pride, authoritarianism, a tyranny. Well, I could keep going with all the things happening in the world. So I'm giving you the goods first, and then we're going to talk about, there's a lot going on in the world that is pretty dang ugly. John, what can we do about that? Well, American constitutional principles can save us from that if we actually think that they're good, if they actually matter. So do I think that you're a better Christian if you celebrate July 4th? No, I don't think can you be a Christian and not celebrate July 4th? Of course. Can you be a Christian and be like, I just don't really like America? Of course you can. I'm trying to ask, what's the goal? What's the goal of being anti-American when it's the principles of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration made possible in 1776 that we just celebrated? Don't you think that could be a good sort of buffer to help save us from communist China, from having your religious rights stripped away willy-nilly by the arbitrary power of the state? I mean, I just saw even in some of our Christian brothers and sisters in England who kind of make fun of American Christians because we like America. And I don't really understand this stuff. And look, I do not go to England and tell you how to run your government. All that I'm saying is that in America, Christians still have a voice. Hello, I said it. I don't even care. In America, Christians still have some culture power. In America, we believe that the king does not have absolute power. All right? So to our Christian brothers and sisters in England that don't understand why we get like this, well, that's actually why we celebrate independence. I'm not being smart aleck, just saying maybe you don't know why. That's why we celebrate independence, because the king just decided willy-nilly to take arbitrary power. So you guys may believe, I don't know, you may believe that the king is above the law and anything the king says goes because he has absolute power and he's supreme and that's the way it is. We don't believe that in America. We believe that the law is above the king. We have God-given rights that cannot be taken away from us because the king said, you know what, I don't think I like that anymore. I don't think that you're allowed to go to church for 2 years. And frankly, our Christian brothers and sisters in Britain stayed home for about 2 years, 2.5 years. We were celebrating Jesus in churches. We were administering justice and food to the poor. We were doing a whole lot of stuff over here because we still have some culture power, while some of you are being arrested outside of abortion clinics for silently praying. Just saying. I'm not saying, I hope you hear what I'm saying. In America, we believe that the church still has some culture power, and we believe that it's not just good for Christians to stand up. We believe it's good for all of society because the same principle that says that I don't have to be stuck in my house for 2 years while strip clubs are open, nudie bars, abortion clinics, weed dispensaries, liquor stores, casinos, but you're not allowed to go to church. Well, we believe that is a tyranny, and we believe it's evil. And we believe that by standing up for the principle that we are also going to help the least of these, the people that do not have food to eat, whose kids did not get to go to school for a year, and now they're 5 years behind on school. And we have a 30% reading proficiency in America, okay? Sorry. Not sorry at all. Point is, I'm just saying, what's the good of being anti-America when the principles of America are good for everybody? The amount of understanding of how great these principles are in America baffles me to a new level. So let's try to be fair now. Why are some Christians say, yeah, John, but you don't understand? So this is one of the things I heard this week as I'm getting into it with somebody. But I've seen it on a lot. There's more and more. It's the social justice reckoning is making a lot of churches be like, I don't want to celebrate July 4th because 1776, there was still slavery. And so if I celebrate July 4th, kind of looks like I'm saying I support slavery because America was amazing and we never did anything wrong. Is that really what 1776 is about? Is it about slavery? No, that's not at all what July 4th is actually about. So, one of the things that we're dealing with is this idea. Actually, I don't have a Bible verse to read. I'll read that in a second because it's to do with the other thing. Is it more pious to not care about politics? I'll read about that in a second. Here's what I want to say about the whole race, 1776 and this and the other. 1776, all right, the Declaration of Independence. What that is about, is all men are created equal. It is about self-government. It is about the fact that we are not going to sit under the arbitrary supreme authority of the king. That is a recipe for tyranny. That is a recipe for slavery for all. All right. And so 1776 is a celebration of self-government, of ordered freedom, under equity under the law that even the king has to acknowledge. All right. It is about no taxation without representation. I think a lot of people misunderstand this as they just thought it meant, well, they were just mad that they were raising taxes and so they just freaked out. That's not what's going on. The idea was, and the idea actually comes from the Magna Carta from England, that there will be no taxes on the citizens unless the citizens consent to it by having a representative in Parliament to be there to vote on the taxes. And if there is no representative and there's no whatever, then we're not a part of Parliament and there is no taxation. All right. I just read a book, and I forget the author's name of it. Maybe I'll have him on the show. I want to give him credit. I think it was David A. Hall. I can't remember David Hall. I believe I can't remember his name. And he said it would be sort of like today if the UN, so America's a part of the UN, right? The UN just said, hey, we're going to begin taxing American citizens for X, Y, or Z, the global crisis, the war in Ukraine. We're going to, or whatever it may be, or for world hunger relief, whatever. X, Y, Z, we're going to say, you know what? We're going to come in and start taxing American citizens on that. And we're like, whoa. I'm not a citizen of the UN. I mean, I realize that America is a part of the UN, but they don't have any governing power over me. I did not elect them. There's no consent of the governed here. That's not my people. You know what I'm saying? That's not my people. They have absolutely no legitimacy to come into my bank account and steal my money for whatever it is that they deem worthy. It's unconstitutional. It's illegitimate. That is a tyranny. That's what it was like. That's what no taxation without representation was like. I thought that was a great illustration. 1776, all men are created equal. That we list out the ideas of freedom, of American freedom, limited government, that the king is under the law. These are God-given rights. The state does not give me rights. The state protects my God-given rights. They pre-exist government. This is the principle that is so obvious. Obviously, when we say in disagreement with our slavery situation, that even in 1776, some of the signers of the Declaration are like, yeah, but it's just that we are writing this down, self-government, and we're using the phrase, all men are created equal for a reason, by the way, and there's like, how are we going to deal with the slavery thing? We need to deal with this. You can't say all men are created equal and keep the institution of slavery. It's evil. It's wicked. What are we going to do about this? Well, that already started. So the idea that, well, that didn't start till 100 years later or something, that's not actually true. That's not actually true. It's those principles that then end up being used, as most people know, to for the abolitionists and all the people that came out, Frederick Douglass and all these awesome people. Frederick Douglass, who was a former slave, is saying, yeah, these principles are really good, but they need to apply to everyone. We celebrate the principles, but they need to apply to everyone. Martin Luther King says the same thing. Says the Declaration, the Constitution are wonderful. They're a promissory note. That's how MLK said it. It's a promissory note. It was written down. All men are created equal, but we're ready to cash it. We're ready to take the note, go to the bank, and show me the money, because it hasn't existed in full for Black Americans and all sorts of other people, all right? Minorities, indigenous people, yada, yada. That's the point. And so once once that promissory note has been cashed, and now we do have equity under the law, okay? We're not talking about equity of outcome. We're talking about equity under the law, equality in the law, you could call it that, all right? That Blacks and whites and browns and Asians, nobody is treated differently according to the color of your skin. Now that we have that, well, in 1776, we don't tear 1776 down and start something brand new. We say, no, these are the principles that started it, and this is good for everybody and created freedom really like the world had never seen. It's just that it didn't extend to everyone. Now it extends to everyone. So when I celebrate July 4th, I am in no way celebrating something that should be offensive to someone else because of sins that were still happening in 1776. And in fact, it's the principles of the Declaration that led to where we are today. So I can't see any reason to try and tear that down. Now, can I see somebody saying, John, I hear you. It's just too hard for me because of the past, my ancestors were slaves. I just can't get into it. It's just not my thing. Can I see that? Sure, I can see that. I have grace for people like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm talking about people that are like, no, I hate it and it's antithetical. And you, Cooper stuff, you celebrating July 4th, you wearing a hat with an American flag is actually offensive to me, because what you're saying is that you support the evil institution of slavery. I don't know why you're saying that's actually not what the holiday is actually about. And then I put it today and say, well, then, so why are you trying to tear it down? What is it that you want to replace it with? What is it that you think would be better for American citizens, Christian or not? I don't care, whoever you're talking about. I mean, I often say this to people, friends of mine who are maybe gay, lesbian, or whatever, in the LGBT community, if you want to call it that, and the whole, like, America is so oppressive towards gay people. I go, wait a minute. There's 69 countries in the world today where homosexuality is against the law, and the death penalty exists in lots of them. Where do you think is better? Where do you think there is more freedom for LGBTQ people than America? What is it that you, where would you rather live? Where are there better outcomes for minorities than America? Where are there, I don't even know what people are talking about. You don't have to love America. I'm just saying, as you're tearing it down, maybe think for a second and say, where would I rather live? What do I want to model this after? What are the other countries? I'm amazed that so many Christians are not comparing America to other countries. They're comparing America to some sort of utopian dream they have in their mind of like, maybe like New Jerusalem, like after Christ comes and sets up his kingdom on earth, and the world is ruled by Jesus Christ and the incorruptible city of God. And they say, yeah, that's what I'm comparing it to. And America isn't that. So we need to tear it down. But that's ridiculous. Dude, that's ridiculous. Humans love to sin. That's why Jesus died. Sorry, I know. You never hear things as good as this. Never hear anything as clear as that. It's Cooper stuff. That's why Jesus came and he died, because humans love to sin and they love to do terrible things to other people and they love to enslave them. That's just the way it is. They love to enslave them. They love to sex traffic them. They love to film pornography. Even a lot of Christians love to watch pornography. Hello. It's time to put that stuff to death, by the way. Even Christians love to sin. It's a remarkable thing to me, but that's what human beings do. So my question is, why do you want to tear it down? What are you trying to build up? What do you think is going to be better than the principles of the Declaration? What are you trying to do? I'm not saying America's the awesomest place on earth and you got to love America because that's what it means to be a Christian. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying, can you see maybe that America just might be a America is like the country with like a finger in the crack of the dam. You know what I'm saying? There's a dam that is holding back one world socialist technocracy. Oh my gosh, tyranny, totalitarianism, persecute Christians, put them in chains, say you can be a Christian as long as the president is the head of the Christian church, not Jesus Christ. As long as Jesus Christ is under the president, then you're allowed to be a Christian. You're going to be arrested if you don't say that your little boy Bob is actually a cat. I don't know can you not see that America, even though we are in some ways on the front lines of supporting that unbelievable, evil, in some ways we're on the front lines of that. I will hand you that. But the principles of America are the finger in the dam. Now, America is not living in accordance with the principles. We are pushing LGBT authoritarianism, not just in America, we're pushing it all over the world now. We're pushing it into like Nigeria. I don't know if you've seen that, but Nigeria, where actually it is against the law to perform certain sorts of, homosexual acts and things like that. Well, we're going to them and pushing them to accept trans stuff and to wave the pride flag and all sorts of things, which is remarkable because it's always the left and even the Christian left that says we're colonialists and it's colonialism pushing American values because we're a bunch of racists and patriarchs. And even the Christian left says that, but they never get mad when Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and all these people, they never get mad when we push our views on LGBT to like Nigeria and places like that and try to force the rest of the world to love transgenderism as much as we do. It's kind of a remarkable thing. Point is, yes, we're pushing that, and yes, it's evil, but the principles of America are the finger in the dam that is keeping you in charge of your own kids, in charge of what your kids are going to learn. That mean that you can go to work still and pray if you want to. Yes. Now, this leads up to the other objection. Some Christians said, yeah, John, okay, fine, yeah, whatever. But you know what, John? I think it's more pious to not care about America. I'm about the kingdom, not about America, I'm about the kingdom of God, because I'm super Christian. Now, I will say this. There's some truth to that. We're citizens of heaven, right? Yes, you're a citizen of America, but America's going to die and burn and pass away. The kingdom of God is forever. That's true. Obviously, that's true. I would say that in some certain ways, this could be analogous to saying, I don't really like my family because I'm all about the kingdom. I'm about the family of God, so forget my family. And there's an element of truth in that too. I want to read this. This is Luke. A lot of people know this. Luke 14. This is Jesus. Let's start in verse 25. Now, great crowds accompanied him, and he turned and said to them, this is Jesus talking, verse 26. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Hello, let's read it again. Jesus only said things that made people have happies. Yeah, you've not been reading Jesus' words. Jesus loved people. Stop saying things that are so mean on Cooper stuff because Jesus was love. Yeah, you haven't been reading Jesus' words. Yes, Jesus was love, but I think that a lot of Christians are redefining what that means. Let's say it again. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Okay, here's what we have. Well, you know what? I hate my wife and my kids because I love Jesus that much. Do we really think that Jesus is saying that, by the way, this would be inconsistent with the entire rest of the Bible and the way that God created humans for a man and a woman to come together in covenant marriage and have children. It is be antithetical to the entire Bible if Jesus actually want you to hate them. You're not supposed to like your family at all. Hate them. That's obviously not what Jesus is saying. But it's analogous to the idea of, I'm just not into my country at all because I'm all about the kingdom. Now, I understand it's not a perfect analogy because the family and country, I get it. But do you see what I'm saying? Now, let's read one more verse. What does it say? What does Jesus say after that? Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Here's what he's trying to say. How many people say, oh man, I'm going to go build a house. Oh, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to build, it's going to have 3 bedrooms and this. Oh, it's going to have a pool in the back. I'm getting the foundation started. I'm putting everything I have into it. And then you get the foundation done. The framers come up and they put the wood up. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, Dookie, I don't have enough money to finish the house. Sorry. Didn't have enough money to finish it. Now what do you have? Well, I got a foundation and some wood, and I don't even have enough money to cover up the wood. So when the rain comes, it doesn't destroy the wood and all that. Sorry, my bad. Didn't have enough money. Didn't count the cost. Didn't realize what it was going to cost me to build this house. I just willy-nilly was like, woo, gonna build this sweet house. That's what Jesus is saying. No. How much you have to commit your life to me, Jesus Christ. You have to commit everything to me, and there is no going back. You ain't stopping after you build the frame. You're going all the way. You're going to finish that pool, son. You're going to finish that roof, all right? You're going to do it all. That's what he's trying to say. The level that you have to love me means that if it comes down to it, between your family or Jesus, you have to follow Jesus. That's saying you're supposed to hate your family. So this is analogous to this idea that, well, I'm so pious, I don't even care about my natural family. Well, that goes against so much other stuff. Corey was just sending me something from Timothy, the book of Timothy this week. It says if a man is not willing to take care of his own family and his own household, well, he's worse than an unbeliever. Whoa, what? Jesus is love. Care, bear, share. He's worse than an unbeliever. If you are not willing to take care of your own family, you have family members in need, well, I'll take care of you. That's my duty. That is my duty. Come here. I'll take care of you. That's my duty. It's not the duty of the state. It's my duty. And if you're not willing to do it, well, then maybe you're not a Christian at all. You might be worse than you're living worse than a pagan at that point. But I thought Jesus said you're supposed to hate them. You see what I'm saying? No. Fidelity is a good thing. Loyalty is a good thing. Loyalty to your country is a good thing. This is your place. This is your people. This is where you are growing up with common principles, where you actually understand the rules. And God has called you for such a time as this to be a good citizen where you live, to teach and train the nations. That's what the Great Commission is. Go to all the nations, preach the gospel, and train them to be a disciple. Follow all the commandments of God. That's what you're supposed to do in your nation, in your community, where you are at. It is not more pious to hate the country than to hate the country. Some people are looking at it sort of like it's hey, some people like mayo, some like mustard, some like the country, some hate it. It doesn't really matter. I actually differ with that. I think I used to believe that, which is why I have grace for people. I used to think I'm all about the kingdom. I really don't care about this. I thought that I was being pious, but I think I was just being uneducated. I think I took freedom for granted, that you can have freedom everywhere. Everybody knows you're not supposed to kill people, and you don't put people in jail because of what religion they are. I don't want atheists to be in jail. So, I don't want people who do things I don't approve of and get drunk on a weekend. I don't want them to go to prison for it, but we all sort of agree on that. Guess what? No, we don't. Freedom came at a price. It's not more pious. I think it's just more ignorant. And I'm not trying to be rude about it. I just think it's a little bit of, I just don't think that people have read very much about this, and they think that freedom is some sort of guarantee, and it was just always here. And that's actually, it's actually really not the case. America's got its finger in the dam that makes it possible for us to say to the government, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take that jab. There's no research for this. And the government is acting like a beast and like a tyrant, and we don't know what it may do. I'm not saying it's going to do something bad to me, but we actually don't know. And I'm not afraid of this virus anyway. I'm young. I'm super ripped. I'm shredded. I don't need this thing. And my kids definitely don't need this thing. And in fact, I'm reading some research. This says some pretty bad stuff, and you're hiding it. And when I read the research that I read from Israel and other places like Denmark and some from England, I'm reading it, and then I'm finally putting it on my social media, and now big tech is joined together with the beast to take it off of social media. Put me in social media prison, put me in Twitter prison, put me in YouTube prison, and then I lose my job because of what something shady is going on. It's America that says you still have the right to do that. It's America that says, yes, you have the right to go to church and worship Jesus and sing a song to God without a mask on if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to go to church and do that to be in good standing in your church, I hope. I hope it's an issue of conscience. That's how I feel about it. Pray about it. Decide what's good for your family. Read some research and go, oh, I see. No, I'm not afraid of this. I think this has been kind of a big fat lie. It is America that makes it possible right now for you to say to your kid or your grandkid that's like, I think that maybe I'm a cat. Meow. For you to say, no, you're not. And give them a spank as well. Kick them in the booty. Kick them in their little cat hiney or whatever. Okay? Yeah, yes, we still have the right to do that. Why? Because of the principles of American freedom, constitutional principles. I do not understand this move of Christian churches beginning to say that it is more pious to be against America than to, at the very least, say some of these principles are good. Yeah, they weren't lived perfectly, of course. These principles are really good, and they just might save us from religious persecution in the years to come. One last thing, and this is a doozy. I hope you're listening. I'm about to drop it like it's hot. Hey, are you ready for this? I'm also sensing some sort of bizarre, almost like masochistic, I don't know how to overstate it. Almost a bizarre hope in a lot of Christian churches, even evangelicals that I love, people that I deeply respect. It almost seems like they're hoping for persecution of the church. I cannot, for the life of me, wrap my head around what they're thinking. Seriously, if that's you, I love you. I'm sure you love God, and I'm sure you have reasons that you believe are pious for that. What's going on with your weird, like masochistic, like I just want to suffer for God so much. Honestly, I kind of hope we do get persecuted, because then we might see a revival if we like. Is that what you want for your kids? Is that what you want for your grandkids? I mean, go back and look at the saints who willingly, joyfully gave their life for the God. They martyred themselves because of this very thing. Joyfully martyred themselves. All right, joyfully, I'm ready to die for my faith so that Jesus can be glorified. I'm not complaining. I don't even hate the people doing it to me. I love you in Jesus' name. Go back and read some of their writings. I don't get the feeling that they're like, oh, this is awesome. This is so great that we're all going to burn. And maybe, just maybe, all Christians in the whole world can burn. That would be really great. Leaving no one on earth but the unredeemed. Wouldn't that be just such a great thing for the gospel? It reveals to me something really dark and really, like, the level of misunderstanding of what maybe it's eschatological, of what I believe Christ wants to do in the earth to see his name glorified. Are we saying that we actually do not want to see Christian civilizations? Are we saying we don't want to see Christian communities? I'm being dead serious. Are we saying we don't want to see Christian? Imagine the city you live in right now. You live in Buffalo. You live in Nashville. Wherever you live. What would it be like if in your city, not the state, because you can't control the state. You might be able to help impact your community as a good citizen if you actually take the time to find out what a citizen is. Hello. It just might be the case that in your little city of Nashville, guess what you did? You outlawed pornography. Oh, John, it's freedom of speech. Blah, blah. No, that's a misunderstanding of freedom of speech, which we don't have time to talk about right now. Ordered freedom, ordered liberty would demand the end of pornography. Well, guess what happens if you end pornography? You are going, the demand for sex trafficking and some of the darkest stuff that's happening in the world right now would go down. The secular humanists say, no. Pornography is an outlet so that people don't go and commit sexual crimes or rape people or have sexual, keep somebody, locked in a basement and sex trafficking and filmed. And that's what causes, we have to have pornography because that helps, all that go away. It's absolutely not true. That's a lie. That is a lie. You feed the beast. What do you think the beast wants? It wants more. You feed a rabid dog. You think he's like, oh, I ate enough meat. Done. No, that dog will eat and eat and eat until he actually dies from over his eat. He'll eat so much that he will actually die. Okay. He doesn't go, oh, I'm full, Shaggy. How many times did Scooby stop eating Scooby snacks? You know what I'm saying? Of course, Shaggy and Scooby were probably smoking the ganja. I think that's why they needed all those snacks. Point is, you keep feeding the beast wants more and more and more. Guess what might happen? You might actually see not just pornography outlawed, all of a sudden sex trafficking rates are going down. All of a sudden, people's desire for these incredibly intolerable, disgusting, demonic, satanic, who could it be? Satan, yeah. Those acts is going down. And all of a sudden, people remember all the way back in their brains, all the way back in from human history, they remember something long forgotten, and it is how to be ashamed. And they realize this is a really dark thing. Whether they're Christians or not, they go, you're gonna watch pornography? Do you know that a lot of these people in these things are doing this? They don't want to be doing this against their will. They're coerced. They're drugged. This is really disgusting stuff. Even people that are not Christians might say, are you saying that you don't want that because you would rather see Christians persecuted for their faith for the sake of the kingdom? Woo! What? I don't even understand this. Obviously, we are ready to give our lives for the gospel. Jesus just said it. If you're not prepared to hate your mother, father, brother, sister, or your own life, if you're not ready to die for your faith, then I don't think you haven't counted the cost. You're not ready to build that house. Are we ready to be martyred for our faith? My decision's made. Is yours? Yeah, absolutely. Do I hope that America gets to a point where I am martyred for my faith? No, I'm not hoping for that. Not hoping for the day that I can have my limbs pulled apart on some new device that someone created for their own pleasure, for a brand new way to hurt human beings. That's really not my thing. I know I'm weird like that. Not really my thing. What I would really love is to see a country flourish in ordered freedom, and for Christians to remember that freedom came for a price. Your freedom from sin came at a price. The death of Jesus Christ, God's only Son, came at a price. Do you like that freedom? Your freedom in America to not be persecuted for your faith in Jesus also came at a price. In my opinion, that is worth celebrating. Have a great week.
Read the Bible.